Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Only Stupid Answers. This is the show we answer your questions about movies, TV shows, comic books, werewolves by nights, guys that try, and assorted other things. I'm your host, DJ Wooldridge. With me, as always, is your other host, Roxy Stryer. Roxy, how are you doing today?
What's up, people? That was just the best. Yeah. I'm doing good, DJ. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. You just reminded me there. I need to get one of those soundboards, and then I need to send it to you so you have it. Have control of the soundboard.
But until then, we have a soundboard right here.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because that was a strong way to go.
That was the listen. You can't control. You press the buttons. You can't control what comes out. That's how soundboards work, right?
Genuinely, DJ, I didn't know what was going to come out.
Yeah,
genuinely.
Listen, it's science. We can't help it. That's the way it is. We don't have the technology, okay? But here's what the technology we do have. We have the technology to broadcast this show on iTunes, where you can give us 5-star reviews, please and thank you. We greatly appreciate it. On Spotify, where we ask you a question. That's what we do, and you answer it. And the question last week was, who is your favorite witch in a movie or TV show? Flynn Savage said, definitely Thomason from The Witch. Elaine Baltazar said, Alex Russo from Wizards of Waverly Place. And Yeshu Wazalewski says, partial to Rowena from Supernatural, because I watched it so long, but who could really top Scarlet Witch? Those are the fans' witch choices.
But which witch is which?
Which witch is which is the question of the hour.
Yeah. Do you know that until you just said that, I didn't know that Selena Gomez was a witch in Wizards of Waverly Place? That makes sense.
It does track. Is that the name of her character in Wizards of Waverly Place? Is Alex Russo?
Oh, great question. I just assumed because she's the star that's who we were talking about, but I don't know.
I assumed as well. That was my assumption as well. Listen, it was a little after our time. All right.
I've seen it in commercials, and I feel like that tracks, but actually she might not be Alex and she might not be the witch.
Yeah. So. Who's to say? We're not, because it is Wizards.
I don't feel confident. Yeah, it's Wizards.
The Wizards, so.
Can women be wizards or no?
I feel like it's the 21st century. Women can be whatever they want to be, is what I want to say.
Excellent comment. And also, do you feel confident you know the difference between witch, wizard, and warlock?
No, and here's why. Because I think it depends on the story. By the way, Alex Russo is Selena Gomez.
Yes,
so we nailed it. It depends on who writes. It's like when I watch, my wife didn't grow up reading comics like I did. So we'll watch something and she'll be like, wait, is that the way it is in the comics? And I'll be like, it depends. It's like 60 years of stuff. It depends on who was writing it at what time. So I think wizards and witches, it's like, is there a hard and fast rule? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I also feel like warlock is just fancy shit.
Yeah. And I mean, I
don't know that it's actually different. I just feel like warlock is it's almost like putting doctor in front of wizards.
I wonder if there's an abbreviation. I know in Harry Potter, the distinction was very gendered in that wizards were dudes and witches were women, which now, knowing what we know about J.K. Rowling tracks. That tracks. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe we should have seen that coming.
So
anyway,
were none of them warlocks in Harry Potter?
Which is weird because I grew up understanding warlock is the male version of witch, and then wizard is like an umbrella term. And wizards, because of Gandalf, I grew up in a Christian community, so Gandalf, cool. Harry Potter, bad. But it's like, what?
Oh, interesting. Why one cool, one bad?
Because J.R.R. Tolkien was good friends with C.S. Lewis, who wrote Chronicles of Narnia, but is in Christian circles better known as a theologian. And while J.R.R. Tolkien is not a theologian, he is very much a Catholic, and that informs a lot of his writing, even though in interviews he's like, no, Gandalf doesn't represent anything. He's just a wizard. So it all kind of gets lumped in. And also, it's not... Especially at the time I was a kid, the Lord of the Rings movies were just, not everything was a culture war at that point. And so Lord of the Rings kind of got grandfathered in because it was from when our parents were kids. But Harry Potter's the new thing that we can be mad about. So that's evil. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. This is on a very reputable website called differencebetween.net.
Great.
And this says, the term warlock is connoted. Connoted. So I think the connotation of it is
Yeah.
right. So it's connoted to a darker and evil character, while wizards are usually regarded as good magic practitioners. I had no idea that warlock was evil.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my understanding as well. But I think that's just because like Satanists use it, like honest, not like movie Satanists, but like Satanists use the term
But
warlock.
I thought you just said that Gandalf was a warlock.
No, he's a wizard, so he's good.
And
Warlock
Harry,
bad.
And Harry's also
A wizard. That's the thing is they use the term wizard. It's just, but because the girls are called witches and some of the spells are in Latin, they're evil. I don't know. It's nonsense. It's just like the culture wars now. It's not. We just whatever. We just decide what we're mad about. But
now I'm on facts.net.
Great. Good for them.
I'm looking at .nets. Warlock is rooted from the Old English word warloga, which means oath breaker. Damn.
That makes it sound dope, though. That makes
wizard is
cool.
rooted from the Middle English word wizard, which means wise.
It's rooted from the Middle English word wizard, which means wizard. It's like, oh, thank you for that.
But the difference is that this has an S. Wizard.
Oh, got it.
Wizardia Leviosa.
Done.
Yeah.
Nailed it. So there you go for those at home that were wondering. We're answering your questions, the questions you asked us. Also, we have a Patreon. If you want more of this show, you want to hear what Roxy and I are not able to fit in each episode, you can check out what we're into. We're going to be talking about House of the Dragon and She-Hulk. Ooh, She-Hulk this week. And Andor and The Patient, which if you're not watching, you really should. And I'll say this to you now, Roxy, and we can unpack it and what we're into. But I watched back to back. I watched this week's The Patient and the second episode of Rami, where they go to Israel. And it was an interesting double feature. Let's put it that way.
I cannot wait to get your thoughts on Rami when they go to Israel.
God damn it. I was like, of course this show's doing this.
That episode was, oh my God, I cannot believe that they are able to do this.
And also, how is Rami, the character, able to make every wrong decision? Like always and forever, what's the wrong decision? Rami, the character, is going to make that decision.
I kind of got into not a fight, obviously, but with a friend the other day where I was like, Rami, like, kind of sucks, bro. And they were like, really? And I was like, yeah, he's like not a great dude. And they're like, I don't know. And I was like, no. I think that's like part of the major point of Rami. Yeah, is that he's not a great dude.
I think the show agrees with you that Rami that's kind of the point, is that he sucks.
Yeah, he kind of effing sucks.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we'll talk about that. That's what we're into. Also, I have a show with Sal from Comic Pop called Spider-Versity, where we talk about everything Spider-Man and dropping. If you watch it live, you could have already seen it. But if you're listening to the podcast version, we've got episodes dropping on Morbius. That was fun. So check all that out. Gosh dang it. But this week in the main episode, we were talking about Werewolf by Night. So excited to get into that. Before we do that, some news. This week we got the trailer for Super Mario Brothers, the movie. And Roxy, let's start with you here. For those that don't know at home, of course, this is the CG animated movie from Illuminations, who gave us the Minions, and has Chris Pratt voicing Mario, Jack Black voicing Bowser, and a bunch of other people. Roxy, being the gamer of the two of us, yes. What did you think of this trailer,
DJ? It's hard for me to say anything negative about it because I'm a woman in my 30s. Sorry, take away the woman part. I'm in my 30s.
Yeah. And
so, like, to sit here and just, like, rip upon a Super Mario Bros. Movie, I don't care. Mm-hmm. You know? However, nothing about this trailer was, like, particularly... I think Jack Black sounded good, but there's not much about this that was, like, particularly enticing to me. And I did find it hysterical that Chris Pratt is just speaking in Chris Pratt.
Yes.
I was like, oh, interesting. That, like, clearly that was not just a Chris Pratt, that was a director choice. Mm-hmm. You know, like, people were like, why would Chris Pratt do that? I don't think that that's a fair assessment. I feel like he was hired to do that because otherwise, you know.
I hate to burst anybody's bubble at home, but you don't hire Chris Pratt to, like, be somebody other than Chris Pratt.
Right. Totally. There's, like, a few people like that in Hollywood, where it's like you're getting, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Loki, The Rock is kind of one of them, you know.
Yeah,
So
yes,
it doesn't
100.
always.
I think there's an argument to
go.
be made that most like movie stars, that's what you're hiring to do. Like you hire a Daniel Day-Lewis to vanish into a role. That's not what happens when you're hiring Chris Pratt, Dwayne
Right.
Johnson. You know what I mean? That's
Right. So it's not a bad thing.
yeah.
It just is a thing. And so I did think that that was funny when he's just, I'm like, oh, that's Chris Pratt as Mario. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
But no, this didn't look awful to me. It didn't ruin my childhood, but I also was like, this story is not it's fine.
Yeah.
How'd you feel?
Similarly, I kind of expected. I like a lot of people was like, "Fucking Chris Pratt, are you fucking kidding me?" But watching the trailer, it looks well animated. It looks beautiful. It definitely we get an opening sequence with Bowser attacking a kingdom of penguins, and I associate the penguins with Mario Kart. They might be on other Mario games as well. Sorry, I grew up as a Sonic kid playing Sega Genesis and stuff, so I'm not as versed on the Mario stuff as other things. And in that sequence, it was like, oh, this is for kids, which is fine. That's not like a dig. It's like this. Of course, this is a kids movie. What was I thinking? I think us 30-year-olds are assuming everything is geared to us now. And while yes, they expect us to spend our monies to go see it, this is a kids movie.
Right.
And I just didn't feel even Chris Pratt, who I think is miscast as Mario, wasn't like. Granted, we don't hear a lot of him here. I wasn't like offended. I was like, oh, okay, sure. I don't have feelings on this.
Totally. It was like less offensive than Chris Pratt doing a "he's to me," you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like
there was a little bit. I don't know if you caught it. Nobody seems to be talking about it, but his last line, like "Let's go to the Magic Kingdom," he puts a little bit of that. It felt like he put a little bit of that Mario in there, and I'm like, ooh, don't do that. Nobody's gonna like that. Everybody's gonna be mad about that.
But I kind of felt like that was why he was not that I need to like ride or die stand up for Chris Pratt. But I do feel like he's kind of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't, because most of the people online were like, he's not even trying to be Mario. And it's like, well, what does trying to be Mario sound like to you?
And is that like, something you want to hear Chris Pratt try to be Mario? Does that sound appealing to you?
Because if they really wanted that "it's a me Mario" voice, they should have hired somebody who sounds more like that. Like that's what they should have done. Otherwise, I think you're putting Chris Pratt in a very in a pickle.
Yeah, and in their defense, again, don't think Chris Pratt is the right person. I need to pull. I don't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. The guy that does the Mario voice, he also does Luigi and Wario. It's great for those games. He doesn't have. They're little quips. Like you said, it's a me, Mario. He doesn't have like lines. I actually don't think that would work for a whole movie. Right. Although he is a voice actor and he's acted in other things, he could probably tweak it to where it's like, oh, this is a character. You know what I mean? But
right.
I will say it was weird. So we hear Jack Black as Bowser. We hear Keegan-Michael Key as Toad.
I liked him too.
I like them too, but it is weird how the movie almost went out of their way to make them sound like the video game versions, to where it doesn't really sound like Jack Black or it doesn't really sound like Keegan-Michael Key. And so it's like, then why hire a voice actor? Why are you hiring these guys if they're not going to sound like those guys?
And then also, I saw at the end, it's like named every single celebrity that's ever existed. And I was like, is Anya Taylor-Joy Peach?
Yes.
Oh, did we not see her or hear her?
No. Although that is the one, I remember when it first dropped, I'm like, that makes sense.
Well, if we were doing a live action, I would cast her as Peach.
Yes.
She literally looks like Peach.
Yes, she does. Yes.
Like she's got those big doe eyes and that blonde. Like she looks like she could be like Peach was designed after her.
Yes, 100%.
And flip that on its head because I'm pretty sure Peach has been around longer. However,
yes.
One was designed after the other. Who's to say Anya Taylor-Joy is not a blue reptilian designed to look like Peach?
Not us. We can't confirm nor deny that.
I keep being warned not to say blue reptilian too loud.
Wait, why? Why? Because they'll come out and they'll come get you. It's like saying Candyman.
Yeah, it's blue reptilian people.
Oh, cool. What a cool world we live in.
I'll come for you.
Oh,
Every
cool.
time I do it, my co-host of the World Girls, Steph Sabra, is like, shh. I'm like,
why?
Okay.
Why blue?
Who's to say why they're blue?
I feel like I don't know. I don't know what conspiracy theory hole that comes from, but it does sound like when what is it, globalists? When like somebody like Alex Jones is like globalist, it's like, you mean Jewish person, and you need to stop. You need to stop, man. You need to fucking. So it's like, why blue? Because you say blue. We just were talking about Rami the patient. I think of the Israeli flag. I'm like, why are the conspiracy people saying blue? Why is it blue?
Totally. I think that probably because blue reptilians are like alien species, right? So
Sure.
I'm thinking that maybe on their planet, you know how here camo is like mostly greens.
Yeah.
Got a lot of green. Like maybe on their planet, it's all fucking water.
Yeah.
And well, I guess then, wow, this is crazy to think about, DJ.
Yeah.
Does water not look blue on other planets because the sky doesn't look blue?
I think it depends. Wait, I thought the urban legend at least is the sky is blue because of the ocean, which doesn't entirely track. I don't know. Listen, now you're out of my pay grade. All I will say is
the sky is blue because of the ocean. I thought the ocean was blue because of the sky.
This is not for those that don't know, this is not a science podcast, clearly.
DJ, when I put a cup of the ocean in a clear glass, it looks clear.
Good point.
DJ, the truth is, I am a warlock.
Oh, there it is. There's the secret.
You don't understand.
Yeah. There it is. So, Mario Brothers movie, who are we kidding? We're all going to see it. I tweeted this, and I'll just say it here. Like I said, I'm a Sonic fan, and for all those Mario fans out there that are angry, if I can survive what they're doing with Sonic over in those Sonic movies, you Mario fans will be fine. It's going to work out fine. You'll be fine.
I liked the first Sonic. I didn't see the second one.
Listen, they're fine. And I gave them this advice too. Just hope that you'll get casting as good as Idris Elba's Knuckles, and then write out the rest. You know what I mean? That's how I got through Sonic 2. Every time Idris Elba was up there as Knuckles, I'm like, this is okay. Everything I had, for some reason, Sonic went to a destination wedding. Why? I don't need to get into it. Knuckles is perfect. I'm going to move on with everything else.
I'm like kind of incapable of having somebody say Idris Elba and having me not say he's so hot.
Yeah.
Like something's wrong with me. It feels like a trigger.
Well, it's like when in Sonic 2, he's voice acting Knuckles, but when you hear that voice, I'm like, man, do I have a thing for Knuckles? What's going on right now?
Totally. Yeah.
So that's the Mario movie. Before we get on to Werewolf by Night and more news, let's go on a quick ad break. Hello, everybody. And listen, if you're not watching live, which you can do on patreon.com/onlystupidanswers, you missed a conversation about who is the best and or worst Chris. Leave your comments down below.
We actually have some of my favorite conversations during our, like, the mini breaks that the people are missing if they're not watching live.
It's candid. It's the behind the scenes. It's behind the curtain. You get to hear our real opinions about the Chris's. It's Chris Pine, Chris Evans, Chris Pratt, Chris Hemsworth. Yeah. Hemsworth has the best body, I think, is easy to say.
But the worst Chris, and nobody says this anymore because his name's not to be mentioned, but it's Chris D'Elia. Like, give it to, come on.
But he's not one of he never made it into the Chris pantheon.
I just feel like
I do agree with the sentiment.
I'm trying to make something that we can all agree on.
I do agree with the sentiment. I do agree with the sentiment.
Like, what happened with Christian Bale is it's just doesn't count because he doesn't go by Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was an amazing article this week from Christian Bale just talking about how any role he's ever gotten is because Leonardo DiCaprio turned down the role.
Yeah, I appreciated it because it's like, I know you're joking, but there's probably a lot more truth to that than lie.
So much truth.
Yeah.
So much truth.
I just thought about him in Amsterdam and the Jewish accent he put on for that role, and I tried to think of like Leo doing that. It's like, well, it's probably smart that if Leo did turn down that role, it was probably the right decision.
I'm really curious when we talk about The Patient, which got real Jewish this past week too. I'm like, interesting.
That's for what we're into also on Patreon. Before we get into Werewolf by Night, Roxy, you brought this up. This was some discussion last week. The Try Guys are internet people that try things. My favorite internet people that try things are the World Girls, but apparently other people are into the Try Guys. And one of them... Okay, I'm going to step into this as if I know what I'm talking about. I'm going to tell you what I think.
I'm stoked for your explanation.
My understanding is one of them put off big wife guy energy into the point of like a large part of his content is based on that. And then we found out, shocker, he's cheated with a younger employee. And so that kind of like created a meltdown in the community. And I believe this week they put out a video. The guys put out a video that like, hey, he's not part of the industry anymore. And I was one of the people, and I tweeted about it, and then I found out Seth Rogen did the tweet like hours before mine, and then I felt dumb.
I saw that you guys tweet. I saw both your tweets back to back, and I was like, "This is hysterical." Two of my favorite people on the internet.
Well, what's interesting to me, and I don't know if you have thoughts on this, it felt like, and this is anecdotal. This is just how it felt. It felt like, and maybe this is part of the backlash to this person that cheated. It felt like more women were like they knew who the Try Guys were. They were watching their content. It was mostly dudes that were like, who are the Try Guys? Like, I'm not part of that. And I don't know what that means. It's just something I noticed.
Right. Totally. Being genuine right now, DJ, like, can you name a Try Guy?
No.
Okay.
I can't even name the guy that cheated.
Yeah. Ned. Yeah. Okay. So yes, bullet notes here. 4 Try Guys. They've been at it forever. They came over from BuzzFeed.
Yeah.
They were a big inspiration for us starting the World Girls. I've been a Try Guys fan for a long, long time.
Yeah.
When they left BuzzFeed, they decided Try Guys 2.0. They were going to bring it to them, their own platform. They were going to make it work. They have millions of subscribers. They do exactly what you said. They try different things. They each have distinct personality types.
Yep.
And Ned's is wife guy, family dude. Like my wife and kids, my wife and kids. Almost every sentence starts with like, well, my wife and my wife, my wife.
Cool.
The other thing to know about the Try Guys is that their wives or their significant others come onto the videos, do stuff on the podcasts. Like there's episodes with them all the time. So people who watch the Try Guys know Ariel, his wife, and they also know Alex, the person that he cheated with. So these are people, like their faces to these names have been for a long time. What's weird about this is that it started, they found out about it weeks ago because people saw Ned cheating on his wife out and about. And just started like social mediaing them, being like, do you guys know about this? And apparently they didn't. Did you watch the video of Zach, Keith, and Eugene kicking Ned out of the Try Guys?
No, but I did see the stills people grabbed, and it's like, and there was, each one of them was throwing out very specific energy.
So if you saw the stills, you've seen the video. So eventually they came around. Eugene is a lot of people's favorite Try Guy.
Yeah.
He's this Asian queer icon who's just like.
So he was the one, I think, on the stills was on the left, and he was not having whatever was going on. He was not having it.
So his best friend is Ned's wife.
Whoops.
And so he was like, he's serving looks to kill.
Yeah.
Like, I will fucking eat you and your firstborn child. Like, I will fucking bury you, bitch.
Yeah.
And in the video, he is Stumble McGee. Mm-hmm. Like, either he's trying to read off prompter or not, but he's looking away being like, so essentially what happened was he's like pissed.
Yeah.
Like, cut your mic, take a breather. Zach in the middle is crying. Mm-hmm. You guys don't understand. We lost a friend.
Yeah.
We lost our friend. And Keith always tries to keep it pushing and is like, okay, so really, we let him go, and it's a hard time for everybody. Please don't destroy women on the internet, like whatever. But it was interesting because there was such a clear divide in the internet of people who knew the Try Guys and people who didn't, because they are so internet famous.
Yeah.
Like, that's their zone. And they got that way by being like wholly and fully themselves, open and honest, which is super different than when somebody gets that way by being an actor or a musician. Like, their craft is being themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they just got so much fucking backlash on this.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I think that I heard some people explaining that it's more than what it might seem to somebody like me on the surface, because because it wasn't just one of them cheating. It also betrays part of the brand, but it was also an employee, and that makes it that, you know what I mean, that invites a whole other set of issues. And I guess they've got a Food Network show that they were working on,
which promptly got pushed to Friday mornings.
Ooh.
Which is why I think Eugene's face is like that, like,
yeah,
fuck you, my money.
Yep.
Like,
yep. Don't fuck with money. I would be
pissed. I mean, they've been waiting so long for this. They have a TV deal right now. And then, like, for this to happen. I do think, though, DJ, part of it is more than what people could understand who don't watch, but also part of it's not. Like, you get it. He cheated on his wife and he lost his job for it. That is what happened. Yeah. And so that's tricky, too, because both he and Alex claim that it was a consensual relationship. Mm-hmm. I don't know what's in their contract, if that's allowed or not.
Yeah.
But it's also like Alex is still working there. Mm-hmm. From our understanding. If I were her, I couldn't run quickly enough. Holy shit. Yeah. That seems like a fucking nightmare situation. Yeah. But the whole thing is just like, but we are seeing it more and more often. Do you know the Celtics drama with Ime Udoka?
You know I don't. That I really appreciate you pretending like I might know, but you know I don't.
Super, super happy to share. Ime Udoka, was the coach of the Celtics. He recently just got suspended for 1 year, which essentially means he has to quit because you don't get paid for a year. So as a coach, you need to leave. Yeah. Ime Udoka was like stand-up dude. Everybody really respected him. Like, just an excellent coach, amazing coach. Brought the Celtics last year to the championship. Like, he's just a baller. We loved him, and he was hand selected by 2 players on the Celtics to come coach them. Yeah. They found out right before, like 3 days before the season was supposed to start. Essentially, came out that he was cheating on his wife, or his I think 10-year-long girlfriend who he has a kid with somebody in the Celtics administration. Mm. And then it came out that maybe it was like 2 people, 3 people, whatever. And he lost his job for it. And all of that happened the same week that it came out that Adam Levine was cheating on his wife with the girl. Did you see this video?
Well, I knew about I saw the memes going around of him, of what he was a reply guy, basically. He was up in her DMs or whatever.
She was cheating on his wife with a girl, and then asked this girl if they could name, his wife is pregnant, if they could name the child after the girl he was cheating on her with. So all 3 of these stories broke within like a week of each other. Yeah. Ime Udoka lost his job because of it. Ned Fulmer lost his job because of it. That's the Try Guy. Yeah. Adam Levine obviously suffers 0 consequences. And
because you can't really fire a music. What is that even like? Are Maroon 5 going to be like, the one guy you know from our band, we're kicking him out?
Totally. It just is. It kind of like gave different portions to see like who loses their job, and is it because both Ned and Ime were fucking around with people in their organizations, and can there really be consent when somebody works for you?
Yes.
You know, it's just, I think, tricky situations.
I think it probably makes it easier if they're in their organization to do something. And I would also hope that industries would look at this and make that a thing in contracts. Like, listen, you can't fuck an employee. It doesn't matter whether it's like quote unquote consensual. You can't. If you do, we're kicking you out. Just to make everybody's life easier. Like, this is just, we're not even leaving that option on the table.
Yeah, totally.
So as a Try Guy fan, how do you feel about the Try Guys right now?
I think they handled it as best as they could. I think that there is a plethora of information that they are not telling us, which they as much said so in their video. Legally, we can't tell you guys everything. Yeah. I feel as if this was not the first or only affair that Ned was having. Great. I think that they probably discovered a lot more information. As we see on Reddit, a lot of users throughout the years have said, I just saw Ned at a bar, like, actively trying to hook up with this girl, for a long time. Yeah. And so I think also, like, likely there was some clause in his contract. They got rid of him so quickly that there must be something that they can point to legally that they were able to do that for, because they hired a ton of lawyers, PR, HR, all of that to go through things. Yeah. If you're able to get rid of him, obviously you guys had some kind of morality clause or something. And I think additionally, there was probably more things going down, like in terms of consent or non-consent, with her being like, if you watch videos of Alex when she first got the job with them, she's like a diehard super fan.
Of course she is.
And that's like such a sticky situation, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a guy this week message me on a dating app that he was a fan of TV fights, and that was like a no-fly zone for me because it's just like I don't know how to start something on equal footing with somebody who's identifying themselves as a fan of mine.
1000%.
You hope that you end up with somebody who likes your shit. Like you hope that they meet you and then they start to know your art and then they like it. And that's not me saying that there's no situation in which anybody could ever date a fit. Like, I'm so not saying that. Just for me, I feel uncomfortable at this phase in my life where I'm not that well known with like the handful of people that do know me and identify as fans of mine.
Yeah.
Being like, great, let's then, and so I think that for the Ned situation, like he knew she was a diehard fan of his. So consent is such a tricky word there.
Yes. Well, God bless the rest of them. I hope things work out for the rest of them.
Me too. I would be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
I would be. I don't understand Zach like crying as much. Like we lost our friend. I understand Eugene. I think he's sitting there thinking like, that is X amount of millions of dollars.
Yes.
Like that's what you just did to me. Yeah. Fuck you. Fuck you because you couldn't keep your dick in your pants, dog.
Come on, man.
Fuck you.
And also, no, I was gonna make whatever. I personally, I'll say it this way. I personally am always a little suspicious with like wife guy energy. I was like, well, come on.
Oh yeah.
It's like when somebody gets like a tattoo of their the name of the their significant other. It's like I feel like you would just put a countdown clock on your, and that's that specific idea is superstitious, but it's just one of those. There's just too much. Relationships can be this really fragile thing. You know what I mean?
I so know what you mean, and I swear to you, anytime I am out, like in public, either work event or bar or whatever, and a guy will not stop talking about his wife, the second I leave the conversation, I can count to 20 before I have a DM from them. Yeah. Like, it's like unbelievable how often there's nothing wrong with mentioning your wife quickly to let somebody know. That's what you should do. Be like, oh, well, my wife thinks blah, 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 blah. But guys who literally identify as like, I'm a family guy. I gotta get home to my wife. My wife would feel, oh my God, my wife would love you. My wife. It's like, I literally walk away from those conversations. I could go 3, 2, 1, ping. Like in the DMs, and it's like something's wrong here. That like
I wonder what that. Oh, it's like a reverse psychology thing. I don't know. Well, good luck, Try Guys. And now it's the Try Guy. There's 3 of them. Honestly, it's a branding boon. They did them a favor.
Totally. I think that they're gonna be better off. This was my least favorite Try Guy.
Good. Get rid of them. Get them out of there.
So I'm feeling fine about it, and also. I think that they're handling it well. I think their fans are happy with it. They're rallying around them. I want to see them succeed. I'm super grateful for them because like them, Jackass, there were so many inspirations for the World Girls. And I just think like all's well that ends well, not for his fucking family. I feel so bad for his wife, but like they found out they're doing their best to handle it. Let them move forward.
Yeah. God bless. Well, listen, now it's time to talk about Werewolf by Night after these ads. All right, everybody, we are back, and I'm so excited to talk to Roxy and everybody at home about Werewolf by Night, directed by, this is the basically like an hour Halloween special on Disney Plus right now. It was directed by Michael Giacchino, who you probably know from his scores. He's scored like every other Marvel movie, like choose any random Marvel movie. There's a 50-50 chance he scored it. It stars Gael Garcia Bernal as everybody's favorite Marvel character, Jack Russell, a.k.a. Werewolf by Night. Laura Donnelly as Elsa Bloodstone. And Harriet Sansom Harris as Virus, who's kind of the antagonist of this. God, she's so good. Roxy, oh my God. Within seconds of watching this, we get the Marvel special production, and then like the old school title cards come up, and I'm like, oh I think I'm going to really like this. And it felt like every decision, I knew I was in safe hands when they wheel out spoilers for Werewolf by Night, everybody. If you haven't seen it, stop listening. Go watch it on Disney Plus. Do yourself a favor. When they wheeled out, I can't remember his name, but the Elder Bloodstone, the Elsa's dad, who's the guy, everybody's trying to get his Bloodstone. Yeah. And it opens up and he's like this animatronic crypt keeper motherfucker. I'm like, yes. Yeah, this energy is my energy. Thank you, Michael Giacchino, for making this happen, and Heather Quinn and Peter Cameron, who wrote this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm over the moon with the special. Roxy, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Honestly, it did start a little slow for me, actually. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I think this is for like people who are obsessed with horror, and it's interesting. And then when we were in what I'm calling like the rat race of it all,
yeah,
I was like, ooh,
yeah.
And then by the end, did you say spoilers or no spoilers?
Spoilers. I'm not even going to bother not doing spoilers. It's out there. Go watch it. We're spoiling it.
When we're in the cage. Mm-hmm. And like we are trying to communicate with each other, like smelling.
Yes.
And I just thought that it built the whole time. Like it never stopped building, and I loved that. Like instead of that, like peak, level out, fall down, whatever. It was a build.
Yeah.
Because it was really an episode of television because it's 52 minutes, but it was like a completed episode of television. I was super into this. I was shocked how into this I was. The acting really made it for me because I was like, oh, this could have gotten so campy and like over the top, but you cast really fucking talented people who grounded it in a way that I was like, oh my God. I don't know Laura Donnelly.
She's in... There was another show that came out at the same time. That Never show, that Joss Whedon show that was coming out right as his whole thing was exploding.
And I never watched Outlander, and she's in that too. But she is so fucking good.
Yes.
She's so fucking good. She kind of reminded me of Eva Green.
Yeah.
Like where it's just like that eerie, but like she's got good guy energy while not being soft at all.
Yeah.
I just really, really liked her. I loved her performance. I loved everybody's performance in this, but just overall, I was like, oh, what a great new spooky season. Easy to add to your yearly spooky season rotation mini movie.
Yep.
Yeah, they nailed this one, and the black and white really worked. I'm a massive Wizard of Oz fan. It's one of my five favorite movies
all
time.
Yeah.
So when we get to that musical cue at the end, and then we're in color, and I was like, I feel like I could cry right now. Like, what an homage, and what a just beautiful, not random because it totally worked, but like, way to bookend this. It's just, I was stoked on this.
Yeah, it's just such a cool. I think to key off one of your points, I think Michael Giacchino. I was actually very impressed because whenever I hear, because I'm a cynical jerk, whenever I hear like somebody that's good at this one thing is now going to do this other thing, and it's like, well, you know what I mean?
It's always such risky business. I know that you and I end up obsessed with Ben Stiller as a director, but like when that started with Escape at Dannemora, I'm just like, let's see it. Or like you're going to TV and you're okay, let's see how this goes, big guy, tough guy.
And then you get a Severance, and it's like one of those like, and I don't know, this Werewolf by Night is such a specific energy. I don't know that it tells me a lot about what Giacchino would be as a director, except
that this is his first movie, right?
I believe so. That is my understanding. Except what he did here, I think, was really excellent. I think everything about it was really good. But going to your original point, I think the performances, especially since Elsa and Jack Russell are such obscure characters. I'm a big fan of, I haven't read a lot of comics with Elsa Bloodstone, but whenever she shows up, it's always really cool. And so the second Laura Donnelly showed up as Elsa, I'm like, yeah, like this is what it's like reading Elsa in a comic. This energy, this kind of like what you're talking about, like she's badass, but she's vulnerable enough to be human, to be relatable. It's not like, I'm sorry, but like Rings of Power, Galadriel and Rings of Power is just like, I'm good at everything, and I'm condescending to everybody. It's like, well, this character kind of sucks. Like I can't relate to this person. You don't have that with Elsa. Also, Jack Russell, I feel like, is one of those characters in the comics that he shows up so infrequently that it might as well be a different character every time he shows up. Everybody comes up with a new take, or there's nothing to hold on to there. The casting of Gael Garcia Bernal, I feel like he really brought what I would distinguish as Benicio del Toro energy. And what I mean by that is the ability to look at something on the page and find a unique way at coming at it that makes it really compelling. Like there's this moment, I think one of my favorite scenes in the special is when they're both in the crypt, because it's the first time our two main characters get to like interact, and he goes to sit down and he does this thing. Instead of just sitting down, he like looks and like spins around and then like sits down. And it's this moment that could be read, if it was done by a different actor, as like just being quirky for quirky's sake. But the way he does it, it's like, it feels real and genuine, but it's also interesting and kind of unique. And then the bit where they're locked in the cage, I love the moment where he's like, oh no, we're good. The full moon's like 5 days away and I have a routine and I know I'm this thing, but that doesn't define me. And she's like, no, man, you don't get it. They're going to make you a werewolf, and the panic that sets in. And when he sniffs her, it is funny because he's sniffing her, but the way he plays it, it's not a joke. It's like, no, I need to be able to recognize you when I become a werewolf.
It took me a second when he's like on her, and I'm like, is this like a last ditch effort to like hook up before he dies?
Yeah.
Like, what's happening? And then he's like, don't break eye contact. I was like, oh, sick. Like, yeah, really, really good.
Yeah, it's not a joke when I become aware. Like when he tells them who ends up being the villain, when he's like, please, I'm not saying please don't do this for me. I'm saying this for you. Please don't do this.
But I actually thought that was really smart too, because the assumption as an audience member, at least for me, DJ, maybe you saw past this, when he does that, is that when he turns, there's going to be an ultimate showdown between him and Elsa, of him trying not to eat her stuck in this cage.
Yeah.
And almost immediately... the top of the cage is blown off, and what we thought we were just about to have to face is not even close to what we're about to face.
Yep.
Which I thought was a much smarter choice, because the whole time I'm hoping Bitch Witch gets her fucking arm eaten off. Like, when he pulls her in, and then they're shooting, and they're their own demise, and he breaks out of the cage, and it's just like, oh, this is way more fun.
Yep. Also,
like, great.
God bless him that they didn't make him CG. It's like, nope, old school werewolf makeup.
I thought it looked really good.
I
like black and white, so I think that gives them a lot of like wiggle room, but it was great.
We talked, whenever the trailer dropped, we talked about like, why black and white? Is it because of violence? I honestly I think there's a lot of creative decisions. I think they executed well, like you said, the transition to color and when they decided to do that. But watching the action scenes, it's like part of the 100% part of the conversation to do black and white was to get away with more violence, because it's not like it's shocking because it's a Marvel thing. It's not like the most shockingly violent. I watched the new Hellraiser this week. It's not the most shockingly violent thing I've seen this week. But for a Marvel thing, it's like, God damn.
Do you think that there is room for a second episode of this, or whatever we want a sequel to this next year or the year after? Or do you like that this was a one-off spin-off? Or do you think that they could focus on, like, what are you hoping that we see? Or do you just one and done?
It's tough because I kind of want to answer your question. Yes. Like, on the one hand, I'm glad this is a one-off, but I want more. I'm kind of bummed. We actually have a question here from Mike Joyce that parallels this with Marvel branching out into horror with Werewolf by Night. What other horror movies and TV would you like to see in the MCU? In some ways, I'm kind of bummed that Marvel got here first, because I think DC has more characters that would benefit from this specific type of thing. You know what I mean? Like this genre of like old school horror throwback.
So true.
I feel like Marvel, you really can't do this with Ghost. You could if you pushed it forward to like less of a 30s and 40s old school Universal monster throwback and more to it like an 80s grindhouse type horror would fit Ghost Rider.
But don't we already have Ghost Rider like twice over, and they're not going to be able to do like a little standalone?
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing. It's like, as far as characters you could do this with, this was it. Like, Werewolf by Night, Man Thing, and Elsa Bloodstone. I will say that I would like this to be a yearly thing. I would specifically like more of these characters. I like Elsa from the comics. I do not care about Werewolf by Night, except now I do. Now it's like,
Right.
yes, more of this, please. What about you? Do you want it to be like a yearly thing? Would you want a movie, a show?
I feel really conflicted because I feel like Hollywood's motto is if it works once, do it 1 million times.
Yeah.
And so this worked once, so I feel like they're gonna do it 1 million times. So I don't want to eat my words after time 980 and be like, why do they keep doing this?
Yeah.
But it did feel like there was so much room, especially when we're on in the color moment at the end. I was just like, ooh, the adventures of
Yes.
and I would definitely fucks with that. So part of me wants to see more of that, but part of me also is just like, that's to make you guys more money and it would work. This was good enough. This was great.
Yeah.
So maybe just period.
Yeah, exactly. I feel the same way. It's like I don't do it so much that I hate it, but like I do want more. What about this? What if this is how they did it? What if every year, every couple years, whenever they can do one of these, now that we've established Jack, Elsa, and Man Thing, Ted, what if it was okay?
Ted is the greatest. I was like, Ted.
So I'm not as read up on Man Thing as I am a character like Swamp Thing. So I don't know if there's like a Man Thing purist out there that should be like, he should be scarier, because that is the one thing I know about Man Thing is normally when he shows up, it's pretty fucking scary. This though, I thought the characterization of him was perfect. I love establishing him as friends with Jack. The fact that Jack is there to save him. I was at first when they're like, because I'm not as read up on Man Thing, when he said his name's Ted, I'm like, Ted. I don't normally like it when they do jokes like that. But then I looked it up. It's like, oh, before he was Man Thing, he was Ted. That's actually
Ted, yeah.
a deep pull. I'm like, you get a pass. I'm all for it, because especially it matters later because Elsa calls Werewolf Jack, and so it's actually an important plot point that she knows like these are people.
Yeah, I also think that it's super. The premise of this is that like things that might seem scary aren't necessarily scary.
Yeah.
And so I also am not a Man Thing purist. I don't know, but I think that goes very much in the theme of like terrifying to most, but if you actually peel the onion a little,
Yeah.
not terrifying. Like take a second, take a moment, take a breather.
Yeah.
And so that worked for me. But yeah, I think what you're getting at right now is every couple of years or every little bit, if we did one of these.
And then maybe sneak in. So now it's like Werewolf by Night and Blade. Like this year, Blade's part of the special. Next year, Ghost Rider. Next year, Doctor Strange.
And specifically as Halloween specials every year. I would love that. And I think that would be great. And I think that if they keep it at under an hour, it would be so fun. I feel like what we're going to end up with is in 4 years from now, we're going to have 3.5 hour or like part 1, part 2, part 3. And it's like, just do a one-off.
Yeah.
Every year, every other year, whatever it is. So fun.
Yep. Yeah. Keep it fun. Keep it light. And I do think it's tough to think about other characters that might benefit from this as opposed to like a show or a movie. I was talking to a friend of mine and they mentioned like it would have been interesting if that's how they did Shang-Chi, where it's like instead of a movie, which there's merits to the movie existing for a variety of reasons that I hopefully don't need to get into, but as far as like representation and everything. But like if Shang-Chi had been like a 50-minute thing that's more explicitly like we're homaging kung fu movies, not parodying them, but like evoking that spirit. It's like, that actually could have been really cool too. Not saying it's better than the movie, but it could have been cool. There might be other characters that benefit from that. To Mike Joyce's question, are there other characters, what other horror movie / TV would you like to see in the MCU?
I have no idea. Do you have strong thoughts on this?
When I pulled the question, I did not. I was like, because like you just said, it's like if it's DC, Etrigan the Demon, Constantine, Zatanna, Madame Xana, every Justice League Dark character, Swamp Thing. I can rattle off Frankenstein. They actually have a Frankenstein. I can rattle off like a dozen characters that would benefit from this. Marvel, it's like, that's kind of it as far as I know. You could have, if you had access to it, Morbius actually would have been this would be the way to do Morbius.
That would be very cool actually if they had been able to do that.
As opposed to what we got.
Yeah,
but
that would have been great.
I will say this, and people, I am kind of joking, but I actually do think there's merit of this because because of the trickiness in our current climate with the character. There is a Punisher run by Rick Remender where Punisher is killed. And some mad scientist he's like shredded to ribbons by an evil Wolverine. And a mad scientist takes his parts, stitches them back together, and there was a whole run called Frankencastle where Punisher is a Frankenstein helping monsters like Werewolf by Night and Man-Thing. And it's like, yeah, get John Bernthal back for like a 50-minute Frankencastle special. Everybody but DJ is going to be mad about it. But I think it could be cool. I like that run a lot. And it's doing Punisher in 2022 is a tricky proposition, and so maybe I don't know. That is my suggestion.
Maybe this is the only way I would have liked a Doctor Strange situation.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. Like I obviously Sal was making fun of me this week when we were filming Morbius. Obviously, I love Doctor Strange 2. I love it. I don't disagree that this is kind of the way. Honestly, I feel like a lot of characters would benefit from like shorter, tighter run times. I think that part of She-Hulk's strength is knowing, no, we're a 20 to 30 minute episode show. That's what we're doing. It's like, yeah, good decision.
Do you think it would be cool if they did this? Like the reason it worked for me is because they did it with anti-heroes/heroes. Like I wonder if this would have worked if they did. Obviously, we've now brought Daredevil back and we're doing a whole thing, so it doesn't make sense with where he is, but like with like a Killgrave or some kind of villainous mini, does that make you get my question?
That's such a great, honestly, listen, I'm excited for the Thunderbolts movie, and I like the characters in it. Part of me is bummed that it's not more of the characters from the Thunderbolts comic that are like C-list villains that try to be heroes. Little 50-minute specials of those characters to be like, hey, here's who this is, here's who this is, here's who this is, Thunderbolts. Like, and because like to your point, they're all villains essentially. That would be cool. That would be, again, I think what Sony is doing with like Kraven the Hunter and stuff is misguided. Little 50-minute specials for those characters might work. A whole movie I think is asking too much. Little 50-minute specials, especially if you're able to. Because it's not just Werewolf by Night in this; it's also Elsa and Man-Thing. Like,
right.
I think Howard the Duck is a character that would benefit from this. I think doing a movie or show with him is not the right call.
What are we doing with Howard the Duck right now? I forget that there's some announcement, right?
I don't think anything. He was supposed to get. They were doing those Hulu shows with like MODOK.
Oh yeah.
And the only one that made it through was MODOK, and I think Hitmonkey.
I want to. I don't even know how to look Howard the Duck. News.
Yeah. Are you doing anything with Howard the Duck? But yeah, I actually think we just hit on our question for the week, which would be, what characters do you think would benefit from little 50-minute specials? I mean, shit, half of the C-listers they've introduced in She-Hulk, if they want, listen,
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. Porcupine, Mr. Immortal. Honestly, Madison, you want to do a Madison 50-minute special? I'm in. I'm sold.
Totally. Who's the shapeshifter?
Oh, was it Runa, the light elf? Yes, 1000%. Honestly,
that would be so mischievous.
You mentioned the Netflix shows. If this is how they want to do, like, listen, we're not going to do a full Heroes for Hire season, but a 50-minute Heroes for Hire special, and we'll bring back Mike Coulter and Finn Jones. Fuck yeah, I think that could be really fun.
That would be really cool.
Yeah, like. Listen, we can't book them. They're busy doing other things. We can't book them for like a whole season. But I wonder, we'll talk about this more and what we're into. I do wonder, when I was looking up Charlie Cox this week, he's got a whole nother BBC AMC show that like he's the lead on. And it's like, I wonder if that's why they did 18 Daredevil episodes. It's like, we know.
It's out right now?
I think so. It looks like it's airing right now. It's called Kin, K-I-N. And I wonder if that's why they're like 18 episodes of Daredevil, because we're going to have him for this window. And so let's just do 2 seasons at once, basically.
Yeah, let's use them while we got them, for sure.
Anyway, those are our thoughts on Werewolf by Night. Please do yourself a favor and go check it out. I highly, highly recommend it. I don't know whether if you were ranking Marvel stuff, if it would be Marvel TV or Marvel movies. Whatever list that's on, it skyrocketed to the top for me. Check it out. Roxy, what should the kids be looking out for from you?
Everywhere at Roxy Strike, keep you posted there at the World Girls. We have been putting out a lot of social media stuff. So if you like to learn and you're into random trivia facts, especially this month, we're doing more spooky season stuff, which is very fun. Yeah. This is one that we put out today. Let me ask you this if you know the answer to this.
Okay.
Who was initially slated to play Sidney Prescott?
Oh, I have no idea.
Drew Barrymore.
Nice.
Isn't that cool?
Nice.
And then she called them and was like, wouldn't it be crazy if we did like a bait and switch and instead I'm the girl at the beginning?
Which is so smart. It's so fucking smart. Yeah, it was such a good decision.
That was like a few weeks before production, and then they went on like a mad search for Nev Campbell. Nev, I never know.
I think it's Nev, and also okay. I also think that worked out for them as well.
Yeah,
long term. Cool. Check all that out. You can find me at DJ Talks Trash. You can find the show everywhere that matters at Only Stupid Answers, but on Twitter.
Ain't got the vowels from stupid.
That is it for us next week, and we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.